Hi, everyone. Here I am again with another guest. It's Tuesday. I decided, let's see, who can we bring on? And I have a very special guest because today we have Ivy Perez with us, who is a dear friend of mine for a long time already. And I think she has an amazing story because if we are talking about the body mind and everything that's around there, also for my non-duality friends, um, it is absolutely also important to take care of our body. And I tend to forget that. I am not the kind of person who does so much exercise, and I'm not the yoga type. And so there's a lot, like, I'm not really the one that should talk about it. So, but Ivy, on the other hand, she has a whole story. But first of all, Ivy, tell the people in my world a little bit about you. Who are you? What are you doing? Tell us.
Well, Rivka, thank you. This is so awesome, and just to be here with you. And yes, we go back, I think, till about 2018 when we started in this online space, and we just connected and we stayed friends. We met in person a couple of years ago. Of course,
That was
COVID.
fun. That was fun.
Yeah, COVID shut the world down, and so, we've connected, we remain friends. We're kind of along the same lines of like this space of believing in energy and that everything is energy and we are connected. We are one. So speaking of which, duality or non-duality, just we are one. And like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, change the way you see things and the way you see things change kind of thing. Like I believe all that. And I know I'm speaking kind of like speaking to the choir because everyone in your community knows this, but so me, I live in Central Jersey. I am a mom to a 10-year-old girl. I what else can I tell you about me? So I go back a little and how I came into this space. So how I came into this space in 2018, I got certified as a transformational life coach. And my mentor, Mary Morrissey, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was mentored by Bob Proctor. And they were very good friends. And for many of you in the community here know that she spoke at his funeral online space, and that was a sad day, very, very sad day. But I got how I came to her was it was actually a friend of mine had told me she had gone to a Dream Builder event, and this was in January of 2017. And she said, Ivy, I just went to a 3-day event and all I could think about was you. You would be great at this. You should do this. Now, at that time, I was in job, a job that I was not happy in, a job that I knew that it wasn't for me. It was one of those things where I started to make fundamental errors in this job to a point where um, and for many of you, you may know this, you work at a job, and then as soon as you walk through the doors, you just feel the life force energy sucked out of you, and you just have to put on a face as if everything is fine. But subconsciously, um, I was kind of sabotaging my work because I wasn't happy. Well, they put me on probation. The probation typically for any normal company would be, I don't know, 30 days. They put me on a year probation. So at that same day, my girlfriend calls me. She says 6 months later, there was an event. It's called Dream Builder. Would you like to go? I said yes, but that was the last thing I wanted to think about because my main concern was not getting fired. Well, fast forward 6 months later, I was let go. First time in my life being let go from a job. And 4 days later was this event. So everything happens for a
Goosebumps. It
reason.
is like so cool. Although it wasn't fun at the time, probably, but those are the stories that we
No.
tell afterwards, after all our,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So that there's that one part of me, and many people can probably relate. So one part of me is like, oh, I just got fired. And then this other part's like, wait a second, I have an event going. Okay, okay. So I remember driving to the event and praying and just asking. So for some, it's higher source, God, universe, whatever. I just remember saying, please, I can't do this anymore, meaning the bouncing from job to job,
Yeah.
job. And then 2 days into this event, I resonated with everything the company and the principles and everything that they were about. And then a coaching program was presented. Now, I felt a pull like I've never felt before. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is it. And so here's the thing, opportunities don't come when it's convenient. So here it is. I don't have a job, but I have an opportunity presented to me. So there's that one part of me that says, yes, I want that. So that's the pull. You know, we have two signals for growth. There's the pull or the longing, and then there's the discontent, you know, the kind of like we're just dissatisfied in our life. So there's that pull. But then I had the voice that says, you can't do this. You just got fired. You don't have money. You can't, da, 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 da. And I was like, so I stepped into the part of me that wanted to play bigger in my life. And then I went through a rigorous program and I got certified, and yeah, it was 6 months later when I got certified, but it was 2 months after that. So I'm telling a lot of the backstory here because for well over 2 decades, I struggled with alcohol. Now, I would not, did not, do not call myself an alcoholic. I just don't believe in labels, but I struggled with it. It was something that I knew without knowing that I was bigger than it. I just didn't know how. When I went through the program, I learned in a very subtle kind of way the how and who we are and how and who we are as spiritual beings. I always knew it. I grew up in the Catholic, well, I went to Catholic school all my life. My family wasn't really Catholic, but I went to Catholic school. So I had the foundation of knowing spiritually that, you know, we were created in the image of God. You could say God, you could say just energetically, we are all energy kind of thing. So I knew that at the core of my being, but I just couldn't articulate it. And then I go through a program and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is it. And so 2 months after I got certified, I made the decision that I tried doing hundreds of times before. And I just said, no more, I'm done. And then from that point on, it was more about the conscious decision, just really stepping into my life and realizing that everything is energy and we're all created in, you know, just everything is energy. And I just look at life differently. I look at myself differently. I step into things a little differently. That's not to say, you know, everything is easy. You know, you could still have fear, but you know, you just know that you can have the fear and then step into it. Still not easy, but when you understand it and understand who you are at your core, it just makes life a little more easier. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
No, because it's interesting that there's a lot of people that are watching that will watch this video already know they are like what we were, the seekers. We know there is something more out there and we're on that spiritual path, and we know that we are spiritual beings and it's all about awareness and consciousness, and we know we're all one, and but still there is this like unsettling searching for more, and it's like, when is the searching ever going to stop? And I was very lucky that I could see through that veil. But that doesn't mean that if you don't see it yet and you're on the seeker's path, that things are shifting. Like we all, like I know we were on a very similar path. Like 30 years ago, things were much different. And now a lot is opening up. It's like the 4-minute mile, you know, once one person gets to a certain point, it's like the doors open up wide, and everybody has their own journey. Like for me, to really get that awareness, to recognize my true nature, to really go to the other side, for me, it was a lot about being aware of my own thoughts, being aware of my own nature, like really evolving in awareness. But I know that you went a total different route, which made you understand more who you really are. And that's the path to like really the health and fitness, exercise, going above and beyond what you're supposed to do. So I know, like, let me ask you the first question. So were you always in that health and exercise world? Was that, or is this something that came later?
Yes and no. So, when I was young, I tried different things. Grade school, I was in track and field. I played soccer. I was always active. In college, I tried tennis, but everything was just short-lived. And I think that was kind of like the standard operation of how things went in my life growing up. We moved about every 2 to 3 years. So it was something like, I'll try this for a little bit. Okay, I did that. I'll try this for a little bit. Okay, I did that, not really sticking to anything. So I didn't understand true discipline and understand just really sticking to something. So I always tried different things, relatively healthy. But there was one thing that I had that was kind of like the thorn in my side, and that was the alcohol. And that started, well, technically it started at 10, but when I started to drink, it was probably about when I got into college. And then it was progressive. And I didn't realize that it's a progressive disease. Um, but when you're young and you're having fun, you don't think anything of it. And I still was drinking and I did marathons. So, at that time, I'm like, well, I could do both kind of thing. But I just knew at a point where it just wasn't serving me, because I could be physically active, because I believe like that's a core value of me being healthy. I like that, even though I had that, unhealthy aspect, that vice. I was always relatively healthy as far as being active, but as far as it not serving me, it wasn't serving my growth. It wasn't serving me spiritually. It wasn't serving, the higher version of who I could be, but I didn't know how to say no more. And so was I always healthy? Yes and no. It was there,
Yeah,
but now it's just kind of the next level.
I get it. And I think this is I think a lot of us on the same path, we we know that there is something holding us back. And then once you can identify that, like you can identify, because at the end of the day, what is holding us back is usually like in our minds, like it's a mindset thing, like our mind, our thoughts are telling us, are holding us back, because our mind has one job, to keep us like safe, and safe is like equal what's familiar. Like, so we stay in that similar field that we are programmed to be. So once we understand how that program keeps us in that same similar loop, and that's probably what happens with the dream builders, that you understand how you keep yourself in a certain loop, even though like the seeking is also a loop, because you seek, and seeking means I didn't find it yet. Or you are going to do some your exercise, that's also a kind of escape. Or you do the meditation, it's a kind of escape, because it's like you think that doing those things are going to bring you somewhere. And it is the same thing if it's like exercise, or it's and thinking, okay, now I have this weird relationship with alcohol that's holding me back. On one hand, that's true. On the other hand, it's also a belief. So I know for you, because you went all the way to the other side, that you just finished a triathlon, and then even more, like you did like other craziness. And I know that those things, because it was out of your comfort zone, that a lot of things happened in that period of time. And I relate to it, not to the triathlon thing. Not, there is not one hair on my head that is thinking about that. But I know that if you start doing something, like for me, it was like a marathon of meditations, like getting up at 4 a.m, meditating every night or every morning between 5 and 6, and that was it. And you do something that is totally out of the norm, like my meditation and your triathlon, and doing it like very, and then what for me happened, and I would love to know if that was for you too, that once you keep doing that there are shifts happening in your mind. Like it's not only the physical thing, but it becomes also like a mental thing and what happened. So love to hear your experience with that.
Well, and you're right. We do have like the same thing, just kind of doing different things. I too meditate because I think it's very important to quiet the mind. And for some people, they feel like meditation is kind of like the lotus position, doing this and the om. It's like, no, it's just kind of letting people know it really is. It's just sitting quietly and just trying to like, quiet the chatter. That's it. And you don't even have to close your eyes. You can gaze at something, just kind of like that soft gaze and just kind of tune into your breathing and things like that. But a couple of years ago, one of the things with regard to, me being on this path now with the whole triathlon and stuff, uh, the word consistency was playing in my ear that year. I believe it was 2018. So I kept on thinking to myself, okay, because it was kind of like that whisper. And I always tell, it's one of my things that I talk about all the time is pay attention. That voice is there, the still small voice is there to guide you, is to protect you, is to support you. And Mahatma Gandhi said it. He said, I may be paraphrasing it, the still small voice is in everyone, and it is as loud as you are willing to pay attention. So a lot of times we hear that voice that tells us to do something or whatever, and we're like, really? No, I can't do that, that kind of thing. So, but this year, 2018, it was like consistency kept, it was like everywhere. Even if I was reading, consistency would pop out. If I'm watching a movie or something, they would say, I would catch it. I'm like, okay, I got it. So I thought to myself, what can I do that I enjoy, that I can stick to, um, and be consistent? Because I was never really consistent for a block of time. I could be very consistent for 5, 6 months training for something, but then I'm done. So I thought, well, I like to exercise. I don't do it every day, surprisingly. I don't. I enjoy it when I do, but it was, what can I do? So I thought, because we all say the same thing. I don't have time. I don't have time for 20. I don't care. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to go out and get dressed. But I remember one morning waking up and saying to myself, let me look online and just see what's there for a couple of minutes. And I saw 2 minutes, 2 minute stretches. I'm like, I could do 2 minutes. And that's how it started. Just do 2 minutes
I
and
remember
two
that.
minutes every day, every day. And I was like, and I would stop.
Yeah.
Even though I could go further, I would stop at 2 minutes because what I was trying to do was to build a habit, build a habit. And then that led to feeling good and starting to feel a little stronger. And I was like, you know what? Let me go for a walk. Mind you, I've done marathons in the past, but I'm not one that runs all the time. So there was like a space of time that I wasn't really doing much. So it was like getting back into it. Now I'm not 20 years old, as I joke, I'm not a spring chicken. So it's not like you get up and you just go and you run. You can hurt yourself. So I like to start slowly and build up. So that few minutes a day led to 5 minutes, led to 10 minutes, led to 15 minutes, led to go for a walk. Walk for a while, then maybe a little jog. Walk a little jog. Then it was jog a little walk, jog, walk. And then it was like, let me start running kind of thing. And then it was the build up. And then it got to a point where the thought that was placed in my ear when I was 20, mind you, I just completed a triathlon at 53 years old. No, I take that back. 52. I was shy of 53 by about a month. Um, the thought started coming back to me about a triathlon. I was like, oh. So I did a vision board. I cut out a picture of someone, in a triathlon with the number down the arm. And I would look at it. I'm like, oh, I would so love to do that. And I would look all the time and see where races are. And I would always look, and it's 2 hours away, it's 3 hours away. I'm like, I can't do it. I didn't know how to swim. I didn't own a bike. You know how they say, oh, it's as easy as getting back on a bike. No, it's not. Um, the running part was okay. I was okay with the running part,
Wow.
but no. So in December of 2021, I saw an email that said there was a triathlon, 15 minutes in my backyard. And I kid you not, I was on my phone and I looked at it and I looked up and I go, really? I was like, all right. I can't use distance as an excuse. All right, I'll register. I registered. I still had time. I still had time just in case I pulled out, but I wrote it down in my calendar. And then when March rolled around, it said start training. So that was kind of like, all right, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it. And then I put it out there. I put it out there on social media that I was going to do it.
I know.
And then I thought, okay, how can I take it to the next step? And that was to vlog about it, basically doing videos and just showing kind of like, I didn't know what was going to come out of it. I had no idea. All I knew was that one, I needed to do that. Two, it held me accountable. Three, maybe it'll help someone. Four, my mantra is being an example of possibility. It doesn't matter if you're 50, 60, 7 years old, you can start something. You just have to start small. And even walking, I did a 12-hour walk. That was in December. That crossed my path and it spoke to me. So again, it's the paying attention of something that speaks to you. Don't dismiss it. A lot of times we dismiss it. You may not be able to do it right then and there, but pay attention to it, look into it, write it down, think about it. What can I do? This one thing that could move me one step further towards accomplishing that. And that's where you start, and that's how it was for me.
Yeah. And I can see how, though, like, I followed your path, of course, like we follow each other very closely. And I, as much as it would never be my path, I am extremely excited about yours. And that's also, I'm so happy to have you as a guest, because it just shows that everybody's path is different. And a lot of us are like looking at somebody and you say, oh my God, I never could do that, or I want to do that, but I can't, I'm not her or him or whatever. And what you say is so important. Like, you have to do you. You have to listen to your spirit. It's like, and everybody has their own, the body, spirit, mind, to make it like one, and to really understand that your body is the vehicle, that infinite being, like Bob Proctor said, like this power coming to and through you, that infinite power, your true nature, uses this body, mind, spirit to have this 3D experience. People hear me say that all the time. And so it doesn't really matter. Like, I know how your mind was playing with you while you were doing that, which was a physical thing. But you had to slow, and you say quiet your mind. I have another video where I say you can't quiet your mind. You can only, there's two kind of thoughts, like the thoughts that you actively think, that you can quiet, but there will always be this aware, like the arising of thoughts come up and go and come and go. And so while you were training, I remember we had those conversations, that those thoughts are coming, and then you start understanding what is coming from the effortless being that I am, and what is coming from my ego, the body, who says, no way, I'm not going to do this. And then how your mind, because I know a couple of times that your mind created your reality, and you were very aware that you knew that you created that, and that it was like holding you back. But the awareness that you showed while doing that, I think was a huge example for me, which really was very inspiring, because you were very connected with, like, the fact with the bike, the whole story with the bike, and how you could repair it. And like, there was so, and we cannot go into all this stuff. And I would love to, everybody who watches us, really, you should follow Ivy and contact her and do whatever, because she has amazing stories on how she saw that her mind was creating things just in front of her to show her all her limitations that she wanted to overcome. And she did. She changed it. Like, give us like one thing. Give us one, because I know exactly that you know what I'm talking about. Like those things that
Yes.
people usually don't even see.
Okay, well, one was when I said I didn't own a bike. Now, I also said before that opportunities come when it's not convenient. And I knew doing a triathlon registration costs money, purchasing a bike costs money. And at the time, like money wasn't really coming in. So I knew that that was going to be like a really big a hiccup. But I also believed, I was like, put the how on hold. I don't know how this is going to, I have no idea how this is going to happen, but I'm just going to let go and I'm going to do what I can right now. And what I can right now at the time was I could go outside and go for a walk. That's one of the three. So there's the swim, bike, and run. I could do one of the three. And then the swimming came by and you know, the swimming happened, so that worked. But the bike part, so there was a gentleman in the pool that my husband was talking to, and he said, "Oh, there's a woman here. She's selling her bike. It's a really good bike for a good price." So he told me the price that she was selling it for, and I was like, "Okay, that's a good price, but that's, that's a lot of money." Okay, so I got her number, but I didn't call her right away. What I did was I was like, let me go research. So now I go down the rabbit hole and start researching for anything cheaper than what she was offering. But then I realized again, it's just Ivy, pay attention. One, you need a bike. You're being handed a very, very good price and a good bike. Take it. So it was one of those, and then everything worked out. Because I did go to the store. I did talk to the gentleman at the store. It just was like, it just felt like I was trying to fight something that wasn't that I wanted to work. I wanted to work my way. And then I had to, again, let go and let things happen. And then I saw she was the sweetest woman. I was like, oh my God, this is happening for a reason. So again, it's just allowing things to happen the way they're unfolding. It's paying attention. It's really letting go. It's not easy. I fought it, but then you kind of have to just notice what you're noticing and pay attention and then just allow. And when you allow, you'd be so surprised how things unfold for you. It's already there. These things are already there for you. When you allow it to happen, then things start to move in your direction.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Like the allowing part is so important. Like everything is unfolding. It's like nature, and that's the whole non-duality thought also, if you can call it that way. Like everything's unfolding with or without you. If you look at nature, there's always like the unfolding of like now it's winter and then it's gonna be spring and it's gonna unfold and nobody has to push a button. Now it's gonna be spring, let's push the button. No, it unfolds and it grows and everything is like, it's like in one flow. And it's the same with us. Like we think about it, it's going to unfold and we just have to allow it to happen so that it can happen. It's really cool. And I know you have like so many things that happened. Like this is one, but I know about a lot. So now you're not in a triathlon and you didn't do. So what do you do right now to stay in shape? Because I know, like, I'm not sure that we touched enough on the idea that this is the way that you use your exercise, that is your mental unfolding, that you use that in your process. And I think that's very special. So what do you do right now?
Well, right now, I definitely do some form of exercise in the morning. Like I have to, even if it's stretching 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like I have to. It starts my day. I do meditation, I do a little visualization. It depends on how I feel. Maybe I'll do breath work. Like there's Wim Hof is one method. And sometimes it's just being still and having more like stepping into what is my intention for the day kind of thing. But with regard to, staying in shape, there's nutrition, there's drinking lots of water. Like I don't drink sodas and things like that. Coffee, I love coffee. I'll drink coffee all day
You're
long.
poisoned.
I love coffee. But yeah, it's just, being mindful of what you put in your body, what you put on your body. It's all about, I mean, we just live in a very toxic environment and where our soil is nutritionally deficient of minerals. So it's am I perfect? No, but it's just being mindful of what we put in our body that's fueling us for longevity, because I know I want to be around as long as possible. But stretching is really, really, really important. At the very least, I always tell people, I may do a triathlon. I know some people tell me like, that's awesome for you. That's not something I want to do, like you were saying. But that was on my heart. That was what was pulling me. But you do have to do something. And go for a walk, however long it takes you, just go for a walk, get outside, get fresh air. It's really, really important. And I
Yeah.
am going to do the triathlon again.
Okay, you said it out loud. Okay, good. We hold you to that. No, I think also if you want to be, like we always say, if you want to have high vibrational thoughts that are producing good stuff, you have to get your body in a high vibration. And walking, moving, yoga, tai chi, breathing, it's all part
Music,
of like
music too.
music, whatever. It's all part of raising your vibration, which is when you are in what Esther Hicks or Abraham Hicks would say, let's be on our high flying disc. And that's where I want to be. I want to be on my high flying disc. And I know that when I'm there, everything will come to me. So I don't have to worry about that. So that's really cool. Okay, we're going to wrap it up. What I would love to say is that I will put under this video where you can find Ivy. She is launching her next 8-week program where she's really giving you a lot of techniques that she got from Dream Builder, but also where she uses her own experiences to really bring that body mind together. So it's really not only mindset work, there's a lot of body work. She will share all her experiences. So it's like, I really recommend for people that want to start their journey and don't know how, because that's exactly what she was explained. Like she knew there was something going on. If you're in that same position, you know that there's something inside of you, but you just don't know how, then I would highly recommend to reach out to Ivy and ask about her 8-week program. Is there anything else, Ivy, that you would love to finish with? Leave us with something.
Well, I'll finish with the program that this is something that I've been thinking about for a long time. And even just like, can I do this kind of thing? I know I have a lot to share. And one of the main things in this program, it's called Alignment Accelerator. And for me, it's kind of aligning its thoughts, feelings, and actions. Like you have to have the three in alignment, and that's when things start to shift. But a lot of it is, I really talk about paying attention, really paying attention. You have to know what your core values are, because when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. And when you don't know what your values are, you hem and haw, you flip-flop. And it kind of it's your rudder to the ship. It kind of guides you and navigates you. So I talk about that, and yes, there's a health aspect to it. There's a little bit of exercise, nutrition, all these things. All the things that kind of helps anyone with their health mindset, mindset kind of thing. And then I end the program with how are you going to leave your footprint on this earth? Because it's universal. When we put our head on the pillow for the last time, we all will have left something behind. What is it that you want to leave behind? There's a process to that,
Yeah.
the vision of what you want for your life. So I hope, and my intention is really to impact, and it's just a small piece of the puzzle in this vast space of information and coaching and stuff. So yeah, I
Well,
just hope that I get the opportunity to serve as many women as possible.
yeah, I love it. I really love it. That's why I also wanted to bring you on, because I understand the value of what you are offering. And what you can do for people. I saw it happening many, many times already, that you have, like, you helped a lot of women in one of my Facebook groups, and I know what you meant to them. So that's another thing. You don't even know yet anything about Ivy. Okay. All right. So thank you so much for being here with us. Ivy, again, thank you for sharing the story. We just had a conversation, which is wonderful. Nothing scripted here, guys. We just talk, and if it resonates with you, you find us down here, and we'll see you next time. Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.